Caravaggio, the rebel genius who revolutionized art. Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio, the name itself rings with drama. He was a painter of astonishing talent, an unruly genius whose art exploded with raw humanity and vivid contrasts of light and dark. A man of tumultuous passions and an equally stormy life, Caravaggio became the trailblazer of tenebrism, the art technique that mastered the play of shadow and illumination. His works were revolutionary, not because they adhered to tradition, but because they shattered it. Caravaggio didn't paint saints as ethereal beings or mythological figures draped in idealized beauty, he painted them as gritty, flesh-and-blood people, replete with dirt under their nails, veins visible under taut skin, and eyes that burned with life or despair. Born in 1571 in a small town called Caravaggio near Milan, he carried the name of his birthplace like a badge. His early years were marked by tragedy. His family was ravaged by the plague when Caravaggio was just 6 years old, leaving him orphaned. Perhaps this brush with death infused his work with its haunting realism later in life. Caravaggio apprenticed with the painter Simone Peterzano, who instilled in him a robust grounding in the craft. By his early 20s, however, Caravaggio left Milan for Rome, the bustling center of the art world. In Rome, the aspiring artist would both find his fame and lose his peace. Stopwatch equals 400. The rise of a revolutionary artist, stopwatch equals 400. Rome in the late 16th century was a city teeming with opulence, power, and contradictions. The Catholic Church commissioned extravagant art to reinforce its authority, and wealthy patrons sought beauty to flaunt their status. Yet in the streets, beggars and thieves brushed elbows with priests and merchants. It was here, in this contrast of the sacred and profane, that Caravaggio thrived. His early years in Rome were harsh, he was often penniless, ill, and desperate for commissions. He painted flowers, still lives, and everyday scenes, eking out a meager living. Stopwatch equals 400. His luck changed when he caught the eye of Cardinal Francesco del Monte, an influential patron who recognized Caravaggio's exceptional talent. Del Monte introduced him to Rome's elite, and soon Caravaggio began receiving prestigious commissions. What set him apart, even in these early works, was his rejection of idealism. Boy with a Basket of Fruit, 1593, or The Card Sharps, 1594, showcased his gift for realism and his fascination with the underbelly of society. Caravaggio depicted his subjects with natural imperfections and dramatic shadows, giving them an intimacy and honesty no one else dared to attempt. Stopwatch equals 400. A daily routine fueled by chaos and creativity. Caravaggio lived as fiercely as he painted. His daily routine was anything but structured, he was a creature of impulse. He would work obsessively for days, consumed by a canvas, and then vanish into Rome's taverns, brothels, and back alleys. He surrounded himself with prostitutes, gamblers, and ruffians, people who often modeled for his paintings. His use of such unconventional subjects sparked outrage. After all, the church expected saints to look divine, not like the commoners one passed on the street. Caravaggio had a volatile temper, and his life was riddled with violence. He frequently got into street brawls and duels, and records of the time paint him as a troublemaker. Yet despite his unruly lifestyle, Caravaggio was extraordinarily disciplined when he painted. Unlike other artists of his time, he rarely sketched his ideas beforehand. Instead, he painted directly onto the canvas, with an immediacy that gave his works unmatched vitality. The masterpieces that shook the world. In 1599, Caravaggio received the commission that would change his career forever, the Contarelli Chapel. He was tasked with painting scenes from the life of Saint Matthew, and what he delivered stunned Rome. His Calling of Saint Matthew, 1599 to 1600, is one of his most celebrated works. In it, a beam of light illuminates a dingy tavern where Matthew, a tax collector, sits with his comrades. Christ, barely noticeable, gestures toward him, and the moment of divine calling is both subtle and electric. The painting's use of light and its gritty realism shocked viewers but cemented Caravaggio as a genius. Caravaggio's career soared. He painted works such as Judith beheading Holofernes, 1599, The Supper at Emmaus, 1601, and The Crucifixion of St. Peter, 1601, each more daring and emotionally charged than the last. His art was praised and condemned in equal measure. Critics accused him of being too real, too vulgar, while admirers marveled at his ability to breathe life into sacred stories. One of Caravaggio's most fascinating habits was his use of live models and real light sources. He didn't paint idealized bodies, he painted what he saw. For Death of the Virgin, 1606, he used a drowned prostitute as his model for the Virgin Mary, a choice that scandalized the Church and caused the painting's rejection. Yet it is this boldness, this refusal to compromise, that defines his legacy. The Fugitive Years. Caravaggio's fiery temper would ultimately cost him dearly. In 1606, during a brawl, he killed a man named Ranuccio Tomasoni, reportedly over a gambling dispute. With a price on his head, Caravaggio fled Rome and began a life on the run. He moved through Naples, Malta, and Sicily, painting masterpieces wherever he went, though his personal demons followed him. In Malta, he painted the beheading of St. John the Baptist, 1608, a monumental and harrowing work that many consider his magnum opus. Yet even here, Caravaggio's violent tendencies resurfaced. He was arrested for fighting and fled once more. A tragic end. Caravaggio spent his final years trying to secure a pardon that would allow him to return to Rome. He sent paintings as gifts to powerful patrons, desperate to regain favor. However, in 1610, at the age of 38, Caravaggio died under mysterious circumstances. Some claim he succumbed to fever or lead poisoning from his paints, while others whisper of foul play. Legacy of a genius. Caravaggio's death did not end his influence, it ignited it. His groundbreaking use of chiaroscuro, light and shadow, and his raw, unfiltered depiction of the human experience inspired generations of artists, including Rubens, Velázquez, and Rembrandt. He is now regarded as the father of modern painting, a visionary who dared to see the world as it was, beautiful, flawed, and achingly real. Caravaggio was an artist of contradictions, violent yet tender, rebellious yet devout, chaotic yet disciplined. His life was as dramatic as his canvases, and his art continues to captivate audiences, proving that even in darkness, there is light. For all his sins and struggles, Caravaggio remains a testament to the power of raw talent and uncompromising vision, the man who brought humanity to the divine.